Okay, so today our short kind of discussion talking about and how to understand and translate the title of the Tibetan book. So basically, I think before we go through the actual title, I think I will go some structure of the Tibetan title. Maybe that's helpful sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like, maybe we can see some structure of the Tibetan title. So maybe we can see this is Deba, and sometimes Shija or Shukso.
Mm-hmm.
So before Deba put somebody's name, maybe Chizongaba, and Deba, and name Shija or Shukso. Chizonga be Deba, son, Shija or Shukso. Right? Or sometimes Chija or Shukso. That's a style. Some lamas say Deba, call something Shija or Shukso. Or Namtar or Janam, same. Biography, same thing. Something like Longche Ramjampe, Namtar, Longche Janam, and something Melon, Shijao Shus. You can put name Melon, Miro, whatever, something. See this, like this Lamas put here before Lama's name, and the Namtar, and this actual title, and Shijao Shukso. And same thing, Tunrup, bird story or something with Jataka. And same thing, Shakya to be Tunrup, Jataka or Buddha, and just whatever, just name it, to the nectar Shijawa Shusus and put here. Or same thing, Girup, royal succession, and something like a Purgi Girup, and then we can put a name, so Purgi Girup, singing or whatever, something, Shijawa Shusu.
So these are various different kinds of texts, different genres of text.
Yes, and from the Chinju history of Dhamma, maybe say the Gyanagi Chinju history of China, and something, right, just like a name, and Shejawa Shukso, a Chejawa Shukso. And then just Choga, ritual, maybe say Cheresig Choga, ritual of our lecturer, and this name, and Shejawa Shukso. And certain supplication prayer, or same thing, right? Just like so and so dip, and name Shijawa Shuksu, and Tutup Sadhana. So like Chana Tochi Tutup, Sadhana of the Vrajapani, and then also actual name Shijawa Shuksu. Akane, sometimes a difficult point. So like Shijing one that you can difficult point of Panya Paramita, and whatever just name it, long name, Shijawa Shuksu. And sometimes Dilba, same thing. Shijing one that you can Dilba, come into a Panya Paramita, something name. And Dilba, we have many different names, sometimes Singdil, word commentary, which is Jang, Chup, Sem, Ba. What does Jang mean? Each by thing. Or Chendil, annotated commentary. So that's best actual text there. I put something small note, right? And
different kinds of commentaries.
Different kinds of commentary, right? And comment on the essential meaning, not word by word, most important thing, right? And sometimes they call a chetup explanation. So then there's basically sometimes she, sometimes chi. This meaning is same.
Depending on the spelling.
Right. So basically, this that all thing you can see different basically type. Sometimes Deva, Namdar, Tunrup, Yerup, Chunju, Choka, Sunju, to the this we can see. Then when you see this text, this is like I think 95% we just like structure using this one. So there's like a first some name or thing, and then this actual Deva. Clarify this is Durpa or this is Namta or this is Tunrup or Yerup, lots of things, but not all the time, mostly clarify. Just people know this category, right? And then Shechawa Shuksu. Sometimes like ignore this one, Shuksu. That's
Sometimes it only says shukso.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like 제종급의 되봐 and 대빈 중어 shukso. Sometimes they say they also this thing, right? Chichawa, Ignacio, just omitted. It's already it's there, but just like sometimes not telling. So this is like a kind of short structure of our title.
Yeah, great. That's helpful. So this is really the most common types of text. And
Yes.
in the title, it'll say one of these words to identify what kind of text.
Yeah, exactly. So there's, I think, of course, the more, this is most common, those things, or the small more they come in, right? Just like it. Now we can go by title. So there's, I noticed that in Indian text come from India and text come from Tibet, it's really different. Indian text is title very short, and Tibetan text title very long. So there's those Indian texts, right? You can see Ninchi Pema Kapento, the Sutra of the White Lords of Great Compassion. It's pretty simple, right? Yongsu Nyangela Jaba Chimbento, the Sutra of the Great Parinirvana. And Seti Kaonga du Juba Tembento, the Sutra of the Teaching to Nanda on Entering the Womb. This is like an Indian text. It's like I think 99% is very short. So it's like a title.
So the text titles, when they're translated from Sanskrit or something to Tibetan, they are still very short.
It's really short, right? The titles you cannot change. Whatever they have, you have to talk, right? So, and Tibetan title, different thing. This is like so like we say Soan Deba, Biba Sundip. They also clarify this thing, right? Deti Choyo Lingbala. So Deba Sundi, they say Chin is and. They say like so Sundip and Deba two Dejunga. This is named Dreshi Bulan Jensan. So yeah, I told it before, Deba Sundip meeting, we put Deba Sundip somebody's name, and then Shejawa Shukso, and just put actual name here. So that's like the same structure.
So it's a praise. So it's the kind of text and then to the person, a praise to somebody, or and then the name of the text is just a short part before the end.
Just exactly, So this you can translate in English. This one, see, prayer and praise to the Devjin Chogyur Lingpa. So that's like Devjin Chogyur Lingpa La to Devjin Soan Deba. And then here, that really actual title, the excellent Bila true of the auspiciousness.
And when you see just a short form of the text that's like quoted in another text, would you see only that short part of the text normally?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's excellent question. Yeah, but mostly, and somebody's saying, I'm a reading. Somebody, what kind of type of reading I say? They say, I'm taking Deba. Which one? Then say, Dreshi Bulan Josan. Right? And if somebody you want to like, so like usually if says Dreshi Bulan, we're using only this name. But sometimes people want to, you don't have a detail, say, a general title, I'm prayer, what about Deji Chonjil Deba. So then Deji Chonjil, maybe Deba have 3 or 4 or 5 different. Then people say, which one? Then it's the Dreshi Bulan.
Right.
Right.
Sometimes that text title is kind of so general that you don't know which one it is.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah. So, but just like a lot of thing is thing, and before Xie Jiawa, this is the actual name of the title. So the Xie Jiawa we put close to. We not saying the Dreshi villages, Deji Chonjil, Deji so on. We're not saying Xie Jiawa just before Xie Jiawa. This is like a specific name of the text. This is from here before name more general, more detailed. It's like explanation of the text.
Right.
So that's like one thing. Just like there, some people like little confused. These two make a separate, right? There's two names. So I think this kind of name, like one general name, one specific name. So that's like this. we say Teche Chogyulim Suldip. That's the thing in general. And of course, something like Rinpoche has maybe 50 to 65 biography. So somebody say, I'm reading the Rinpoche biography. Then people say, which one?
Yeah.
And if you don't remember the name, then you say like author's name, right?
Yeah.
But just most people say, oh, it's like a Tibetan very common. I'm reading Rinpoche biography, which one? Composed by this author. So that's one thing. But just like some people say, the specific name of the text, this one. Then people understood this text reading.
Yeah.
So that's a more thing.
Mm.
Maybe we could try another one.
Yeah.
So, Kunjin Kuramba, Sonam Singila Tuba, Yang Dukta, Shijawa Shuk, so Shuk's in the same thing. So that's the same thing. Tuba, right? And Yang Dukta. So that's like Shijawa Shuk, so Kunjin Kuramba, Sonam Singi. So that's like, see, also like this is Tuba. And to who? La, this person. What's the name? Yang Dukta Shijawa Shuk, so. So this is in English. Thunderous melody, Yangi Dukta, right? In praise of the omniscient Goramba Sonam Singhi. So it's a Queen King's kind of his title, Goramba Sonam Singhi, Deva, in praise. So that's like still we see this is like a Yangi Dukta. This is like a actually Pacific name. If you say I'm reading the Yang Dukta, it's a people know this text, they understood this one. But just like a young tutor, also you have no idea which young, right?
Yeah,
so,
sometimes those titles are very ornamental. So
yes.
it might be hard to recognize which text that is, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes people like using just that's why it's if you want to know more general name, there's Kuji Goramba Sonam Singh. That's more general name. And then the Pacific, this one, the Yang Dutra. Right? It's like India usually saying lots of Indians Yang Dutra omitted. Only like Quinji Koramba Sonam Singular Tuba Shijawa Shukso or Sing Tuba Shijawa Shukso. Yang Dutras omitted. In India, that's a shorter. Tibetan we add one thing more Pacific, so that's what a little bit longer.
Right.
Yeah. And try another one.
Yeah.
So this is also pretty long. Shirop the part of the chimbe menga get danger, one bar danger, one to a yanky, shung in Deva, Derdang, Kanela Jeva, Bedin Samo Dirgi Kanji Jawa Shuksu. So there's no Shi Jawa, just Jawa Shuksu, even, right? Jawa Shuksu. So here, same thing. Bedin Samo Dirgi Kanji. This is usually we like people who study those texts, and we almost never from here to here we never use this title. We say Bedesabate Haji, because this we already know this commentary on some texts.
Very well known title.
Yes, well known, right? Which actually saying if I'm studying shelter and I'm reading text, somebody says which text I'm reading, I'm saying Bedesabate Haji. So just like a long, we translate is the one thing is pretty simple. So, Bedi, Sami, Dergi Kanji. Kanji means opening the treasure of the profound hidden meaning. So like Bedi means like basically saying hidden, right? And Samu means profound. And Dergi Kanji, open the treasure of profound hidden meaning. So then this is like from here to here. Now describe a little bit this text. Analysis on the difficult point of the Abhisamaya Alamkara. So there's like I think lots of like a scholar, if they have exist Sanskrit name, they use the Sanskrit name, very common, right? So there's a Shiro Yaparachi Menga Jungondo again. This is like Abhisamaya Alamkara. If it's not Sanskrit in pretty simple, right? A very long Tibetan from here to here Sanskrit distinct. Yeah, then just like kanya la chieba. So basically, ngachi means sometimes I notice sometimes some people like on a translate, they don't go every detail. Something is pretty obvious, something like skip it. I think not necessarily translate word by word everything. Something more makes sense, but sometimes it doesn't make sense. You have to add something. So that's like so our translator's job, right? Not everything there, but maybe it's one language makes sense without this one. Other language doesn't make sense.
Right. So sometimes you have to translate everything or add something. Sometimes you omit something depending on what would communicate the right meaning in English.
Yeah. So that's like I guess, and also like I said before, for us very difficult. They have a source language, a target language, and it's like we have to like really close to source language. Or we have to very close to target language. But at some time we have to live close source language. Sometimes we have to close target language. But sometimes we have to stay between these two language.
Right, and it depends on the purpose of the translation too.
That's one thing, purpose translation, and also second thing, different texts.
Right.
Yeah, if you're looking for somebody's biography, and that's like basically saying is everybody should know this thing. It's like they use like a basic close to more target language. If you translate the medical text or philosophical text, then you have to live close to source language, because even the original language, people who are not training this thing, they have no idea.
Yeah, so if it's a very technical terminology in the original language in Tibetan, then you have to keep the very technical language.
Yeah, that's because even though you try to make it extremely simple, it lost the meaning.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So like, I mean, same thing is English, somebody's first language. They give you kind of so law context, something you have no idea what we're talking about. It's technical terminology, right? And same thing, the scientists, they have on their own terminology. Philosophers, they have own terminology, right? There's different language.
Right.
That's
right. So you're saying if the text in Tibetan is very technical and very like scientific, like a medical text or a technical philosophical text, you want to retain that technical aspect of the language, because otherwise you lose so much meaning that it's just meaningless. It's not a translation anymore. It's like a paraphrase or something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So next one. And this Möllam Tamji Gebo, Doji Tsigi, Gyandu Chetup. So that's the thing like see here, Chetup explanation, right? So this describe Möllam Tamji Gebo, Doji Tsigi Gyandu. So that's also the same thing, like this is like not talking about person. So that's sometimes we can see the meaning. So Möllam Tamji Gebo. So that means that the king of all aspiration prayer. Möllam Tamji Gebo, right? So Möllam Tamji Gebo. And Chetup, they have said the way to explain. And Doji Tu Gyandu, the secret of Raja not. So there's like a synthesis. It's really interesting. Sometimes secret Raja not very difficult to lose it, right? You need a special kind of technique. So there's a thing like in order to explain that this text, you have to study this one. They have to keep special technique. So sometimes you point a way to seeing different thing, right? So I think that's the thing. I would just like is title maybe it's like a little bit short. Maybe next time we can just book title maybe some little bit longer than those things. This is like a little bit shorter title.
Great.
Yeah.
What about different genres of text? Do they sometimes have different types of titles, like terma, for example? Is there a different structure for a title for a terma?
Oh yeah, I mean there's like one thing. There's like use a yengo, the head of the letter. We're using different thing. And also inside the term also like maybe just next time we can just maybe a little bit talk about this different title. Yeah, there's like definitely sometimes they use different thing, and also like sometimes like I said like something scholarly composes text or sometimes like terma, and also structure different, and also word order different. This is like something maybe we can next time do different, little bit seeing to thing.
Right. Okay, great. Let's learn more about that next time.
Yes. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah. Okay.
心花里，心花里，就心花里。